Alright, we got a package in the mail today, so we're gonna do a little unboxing. Hopefully before this camera battery dies. So I already kind of opened it up just to prep for what we were looking for. Oh boy. Welcome back to another Reptile Jones video, and today we're kind of getting off to a late start, but it's for a good reason. Not because I slept in, but we were at a local library, well, somewhat local, and I was doing another one of my reptile presentations, and it's going to be the only one that I do this summer, and that's just because of the situation with dealing with moving and stuff like that. I really didn't want to have too much on my plate as far as juggling all this kind of stuff. So and this library actually had scheduled this like back in February or something. So I went ahead and I did it. Obviously it's not any direct interference with the move, but that move is coming up here relatively soon. But so yeah, those things are just really fun. The kids always get excited. I took the tarantulas for the first time because typically I have at least one person ask me if I have spiders or something. So I brought those along. Those were a real big hit. So I definitely will probably keep those into the program. Because there's people scared, obviously, but a lot of them overcome their fear just to kind of get a little bit of a closer look. So that's always fun. And so now I'm back home. Obviously, I've already put the animals away, but let's get into the day and see what's going on. And so one thing I've been meaning to kind of share with you guys, at least here on this platform. If you follow me on Instagram, you're already gonna know about this, but it's probably been about 4 or 5 weeks now. But I went and got a snake tattoo, and what I eventually want to do is my whole arm. I want the whole arm to be a sleeve of reptile related stuff. I really like the way he did this. The reference material was just a palm viper, and I showed him one that I liked, the general color and everything, but I wanted him to do it in his style, his interpretation of it. I'm really impressed with what he did. He actually made it much better than what I even envisioned myself. And I don't know if you guys remember seeing like this photo here. That's a photo that he actually drew up, and I purchased that a while ago as a fundraising event that they were doing there at the tattoo shop, raising some money for the local dog shelter or something. But anyways, I've been following this artist on Instagram for a while, and there's also another artist at the shop that also does some reptile themed tattoos, but I like Josh's style. It fit what exactly I wanted, and so I went ahead and went with him. But again, I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. And again, this is ultimately it's going to be a full sleeve, so that's pretty exciting. I've been wanting to kind of share that with you guys, but things have been busy, moving along with this house, which is finally, we're finally getting closer and closer to this being finished. And so everything's still looking good. The appraisal came back today, or at least I heard about it today. Even better than what I was hoping for. Obviously, if you buy something, you would like for it to appraise higher than the price you paid for it. And luckily for me, that's kind of what worked out. No, it didn't kind of work out. That is what worked out. So that was a relief. This stuff, that's a big commitment. I mean, obviously I've done it once. I've got this house, but this is actually a step up. This house, the quality of this house, the location, it's a little bit better area and everything, but it's still, that kind of stuff. I like to stay on top of my finances, and I don't like to get behind. Obviously nobody really does, but it's important to me that I stay behind or stay ahead and things like that. So a lot of stress has been relieved. Now that this is done, a lot of the unknowns have been, have been flushed out, and we're still looking good. So I'm really pleased with that. And I'm still working on building these lids for these cages over here. And one of the things I want to talk about for the day gecko cage is over here at the desk. So let's turn this camera around and let's go over there and take a look at that. Okay, so right here we have my Springtail Culture. And I really haven't talked about this much, but you know that I've got some bioactive setups. So, I have springtails in there. But what I've actually done is, so one of these, and I think it was this one, I purchased it, and the culture must have been dying because I only had it for a week, and there literally was nothing in here. So then I bought this one from this gentleman here. I believe this was up in the Taylor, Michigan show is where I picked this one up, and you can see all the springtails that are going in this thing like mad crazy. And then I went and picked up another one. Check out all those springtails. All of that white that you see in there, those are my springtails. So what I did was I took some springtails, a little from each. I seeded this one, so this one's going. Obviously this was who I purchased this from. They used a secondhand thing from Josh's Frog. This was not purchased from Josh's Frog. It was secondhand use. You can see where I pulled their label off as well. So the dead culture did not come directly from Josh's Frog. I bought it secondary from somebody at one of the shows. But this one is starting to pick up. There's actually more in there than what we can see. But I also started this little culture. You can see down there past the humidity or the condensation. It's not humidity, it's condensation. You can see that there are some springtails in there. I use bread to feed these things because the bread will kind of get moldy, and it's something that they like. There's also the yeast in that bread. I think it's the yeast, but it does pretty good. So what's going to happen with this culture is going to get dumped inside the day gecko cage. So I'm really trying to get this to be a huge culture, but I'll actually probably take some from these two as well, since these two are exploding with springtails. Even those littlest of white dots are the young springtails. Those larger ones, that's them full grown. So obviously they're doing quite well. Let's spin this back around. But again, that's something I've been working on. That way I always have springtails to seed new vivariums. And it's quite simple, really. It's just simply some activated carbon, and you keep water in there in the base. You can see the water. That helps keep the humidity high inside the unit. The carbon helps keep things a little clean. At least once a week, you just come through, open up the lid, so that way there's an air exchange, so that way they do get fresh air. So pretty simple, and that's what I do. Just once a week, I open it, I sprinkle. What I do is I take bread. I take bread that I just set out overnight, so that way it dries and hardens. It dries out, and then I just simply put it in this bag, and then I just sprinkle it in there. I know there are foods that you can commercially buy for springtails, but I don't see the point in that. I'm certain somebody down in the comments will let us know, but my animals don't eat these things directly, so there's no incentive to like gut load, if you will, these things. I just simply need them alive and reproducing, and then that way when they go into the vivarium, they will do their thing in there. Back in the day, before there was even commercial foods to feed to springtails, it was advised that you use baking yeast. Now, I haven't heard anything bad about using this stuff, so if something has come up since sometime relatively soon that suggests that feeding the yeast or even the bread is bad, go ahead and tell me. But I gotta tell you, these cultures have exploded with life, so I can't imagine that there is any negative effects to feeding bread. Plus, I use the heel of the bread loaf, which, nobody likes to eat the heel, but my springtails do, so it's a win-win. Next thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to get these down, are my 2 tarantulas. It's been a while since we did an update, and I want to talk about those guys. So let's stop this here, move these out of the way, I'll get the tarantulas down. Alright, so first up, we're going to talk about this little fella here. And of course, that is my, let's see if we can get to lighten up a bit. That is my Mexican Redrump, my B vegans. And as you can see back here in the corner, I'm not sure how the skin got back there, but that's where it's at. But this is, she just molted, so she's given us some really beautiful colors. I don't really know if it's a female. I just, by default, call my spiders females. So just take that with a grain of salt. But I'm really digging the way this spider is turning out. Initially, the red knee was my favorite, but this is definitely becoming one of my favorites. And I'm really pleased with the growth on this fella, and she's really grown fast. So with any luck, we should be doing an upgrade here really soon. I would like to do it sooner than later, if I can, but I'm thinking that maybe it might be best till after the move, but if I can squeeze it in before, we're going to go ahead and do it. So that is my B vegans, the Mexican Redrump tarantula, looking pretty good. It's actually kind of hard to film in here to really get her true colors, but you can kind of see like her legs are so black that they kind of give off that bluish look to them, and we're starting to see red on the rump. So let's put her back and let's get the other tarantula. All right, so here is the other tarantula that I have, looking quite well. Is they're just as good as the other one in my opinion. I really like the colors on this girl. Again, I don't know true sex, it's just my default. But yeah, she's looking pretty good. Obviously, she has also molted, and I'm going to remove that here in a minute. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys an update on these guys, and so because it's been a while, but things have been quite busy. So, man, this spider looks awesome. I just really like the way she looks. So. And when I say the other one is becoming my favorite, like we're talking like it's a close tie. It's a close run for first. I mean, it's neck and neck. I mean, it literally goes back and forth. 1 minute, I'm really digging the way this one's looking. And then I start looking at the other one. I'm like, oh man, you are awesome. And then I come back looking at her and it's like, no, you are awesome. You are so that's just pretty much how it goes. But man. Now this camera, now we are picking up some really good color on her, this one. The other one is just, it's harder to film through the side, whereas this one is a much clearer plastic or something. Not real for sure, but I don't have near as much trouble recording through the plastic on this cage than I do the other one. But yeah, she is looking phenomenal. Alright, so where were we before that battery died? Oh yeah, unboxing this. So this is what I picked up. Take 2. So I got 2 things of this Reptile chip. I gotta clean cages, and I was running out. Let's get that out of here. So this is what I picked up. I ordered 2 bricks of this so we can get some cages cleaned this weekend. So I think that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking to the very end. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not yet. Give me a thumbs up and leave me a fun comment in the comment section down below. And I will see you in the next video. Later.
Shut up and sit down.